The war for the truth has officially begun. For weeks, we have been analyzing the strange behavior of the interstellar object 3I Atlas. We have talked about the signals. We have talked about the Mars blackout. But until now, the scientific community has been polite. They have used words like anomaly and unusual feature. That politeness ended this morning. Professor Avi Loeb, the former chair of astronomy at Harvard University and the head of the Galileo project, has just challenged NASA's official report. And he didn't mince words. When asked about the agency's conclusion that 3I Atlas is a dirty snowball, Loeb pointed to a single piece of data that destroys that theory. He pointed to the anti-tail. If you look at the latest images released and quickly buried by the observatories in Chile, you will see it. A comet normally has a tail that points away from the sun, pushed by solar wind. That is basic physics. But 3I Atlas has developed a secondary spike, a sharp, narrow beam of material pointing towards the sun. NASA calls this an optical illusion. They call it a projection effect. But independent calculations show that for this to be an illusion, the object would have to be in a specific orientation that contradicts its trajectory. The math doesn't work. The only way to create a spike pointing into the solar wind is if the object is projecting it, if it is applying force. We are not looking at a tail. We are looking at a brake or a shield. Let's look at what NASA is saying versus what the data shows. Yesterday, NASA's spokesperson gave a briefing stating that the outgassing of 3I Atlas is consistent with frozen carbon monoxide. They are trying to bore you with chemistry. They want you to think this is just another rock. But here is what they didn't mention. Carbon monoxide sublimates gently. It creates a cloud. The feature seen on 3I Atlas is a jet. It is collimated, meaning it is a straight line, like a laser beam of gas. Nature doesn't make straight lines like that in a vacuum without a nozzle. Avi Loeb's team argues that this anti-tail is actually a plasma wake caused by a magnetic field. Think about that. Rocks don't have magnetic shields. Spaceships do. If 3I Atlas is generating a magnetic field to protect itself from the sun's radiation, it would ionize the gas around it, creating exactly the kind of spike we are seeing. This explains why the object survived perihelion. It didn't just endure the heat, it deflected it. It's not just Loeb. Dr. Michio Kaku, the famous theoretical physicist, has been unusually quiet about this event, until now. In a leaked audio clip from a private lecture, Kaku allegedly compared 3I Atlas to a von Neumann probe. A von Neumann probe is a self-replicating machine sent out to colonize the galaxy. It doesn't need a crew. It needs raw materials. If Kaku is right, the anti-tail might be an intake mechanism. The object could be harvesting solar energy or particles to repair itself before moving on to the next star system. This changes the entire context. We are arguing about whether it's a rock or a ship, but maybe it's neither. Maybe it's a factory, a mining drone the size of a city, eating our solar wind to fuel its journey. Let's go back to the visual evidence. The competitor channels are showing you blurry photos, but let's look at the light curve analysis. When a potato-shaped asteroid spins, its brightness goes up and down smoothly. 3I Atlas has a box-shaped light curve. It stays bright for a long time, then dims instantly, then gets bright again. Do you know what creates a light curve like that? A flat surface, a plate, or a cylinder. Oumuamua was a cigar. 3I Atlas appears to be a slab. Avi Loeb has suggested that it might be a light sail, a piece of technology designed to be pushed by starlight. But a light sail doesn't have an engine. The anti-tail suggests this object has both. It can sail, but it can also steer. Why is NASA fighting this so hard? Why are they willing to look incompetent rather than admit the possibility. Because of the panic threshold, the government has a metric. They calculate how much the stock market would drop if extraterrestrial life was confirmed. If they say we found bacteria on Mars, the market dips 2%. People can handle bacteria. If they say there is a giant alien machine harvesting the sun, the market goes to 0. Society halts. So they have to lie. They have to find a natural explanation no matter how absurd it sounds. They will invent new types of exotic ice. They will talk about rare cometary physics. They will do anything to avoid using the A word. But Avi Loeb doesn't care about the stock market. He cares about the data. And the data is screaming that this object is not natural. The anti-tail is visible right now through high-end amateur telescopes. You don't need to trust me. You can go to the forums. You can see the photos taken by guys in their backyards. They see the spike. They see the weird color. The gap between what we see and what they tell us is getting wider every day. 3I Atlas is moving away. The opportunity to study it is vanishing. But the debate is just heating up. On one side, you have the establishment, desperate to maintain the status quo. On the other side, you have the pioneers, willing to accept that the universe is stranger than we thought. Who do you believe? The agency that erased the Mars tapes? Or the scientist who put his reputation on the line to tell you the truth? The tail is pointing the wrong way, ladies and gentlemen, and that points to only one conclusion. Someone is driving.